My name is Jim Bryce, B-R-Y-C-E.
I have your card.
Good, we filed it at the same time with Sandra. I represent myself. I also represent, to some extent, Sandra. I also represent Claire Wilson. I represent the baby of Claire Wilson. And I represent Tom Eckman. I'll explain. About a mile from here, and almost a half a century ago, I went to the Student Union at the University of Texas and was waiting for a young lady, which you just heard, for lunch.
Waiting for lunch?
We had gone to a movie the night before and agreed to meet for lunch at noon at the Union. And I was a bit off my schedule. I would normally have been walking across the South Mall at about 11:45, maybe 11:50, but the arguments and discussions we had on abstract algebra cut off a little early, so I left a little early for my meeting. And I waited for Sandra, and the television came on, and we heard that there was somebody on the tower shooting. And you know the rest of the story, or I could go on forever about all the things that happened. Sandra was shot basically in front of what we now know as the co-op. It was actually Chef Tall's Jewelers at that time. And through the acts of very brave persons, one of whom we have the name of, under fire she was thrown back through Chef Tall's and taken an ambulance to Red Breckenridge, the hospital that was torn down to build the current Breck. Unknown to me at that time, there were two other people I knew on campus. The first person that was shot by the assailant was Claire Wilson, and she had a baby. She was 8 months pregnant. And after she was shot, her friend Tom, that was next to her, tried to help her, and he was shot. He was probably the second person shot. Claire did survive, the baby did not. Tom was killed outright. Claire wanted to be here today. We did everything we could to get her here. We had a plane reserved for her. But she is a, excuse me. We go through this every year. Sandra and I call each other on the phone on August 1st. And it's kind of reliving these things when you talk about it. Claire wasn't able to come. You have a written statement by Claire and a picture of Claire when she was in school prior to being shot, and a picture of her now with her adopted son. She was not able to have children anymore, and then with his cousin. They, as you've heard Sandra, Claire, of course I'm speaking for Claire's child and for Tom who aren't here, but I believe it's true, would oppose the proposal, the bill now before the Senate, the committee is considering. I would ask that, and I want to point out, I am a firearm owner. My grandfather taught me how to handle firearms when I was 4 or 5 years old. I still have the .22, the first firearm I shot. Each of my 3 children has been trained in gun usage and safety. I have a gun safe bolted to the wall at my house, and I have rifles and shotguns in it, and I have the pearl-handled, chrome-plated revolver that my great-grandmother had on the frontier. What I would emphasize to the committee, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, that we're not on a frontier. Things are different now. This is not a frontier. We are blessed with fine police officers. Art Acevedo, speaking here, is a leader of one of those groups. We're blessed with a group of officers on the university campus. We're blessed with constables and sheriffs, all of whom have been specially trained to understand how to react and react as appropriately as possible in very tense situations and the use of firearms, and all of whom here in this community have been specially trained and continue to train, as I understand it, every few weeks or months on issues on the campuses of the University of Texas and St. Ed's and Houston-Tillotson and the other universities that we have around here. They understand what's going on. I submit to the committee that those are the appropriate persons to work with these programs, with these problems. And the reason for that is not that I'm against firearms. Obviously I'm not. I have my own, I've learned, I've taught my children, I hunt. The reason is because we have these trained persons, we want to give them the maximum opportunity to be able to protect us. And what they're concerned with and what we were concerned with and we find was a concern at the time of the shooting that I'm talking about is the potential for confusing who the assailants are, who the bad guy is, and who the good guys are. And we're afraid that allowing other people to concealed carry on the campus, and I have many friends who carry, some who are in favor of this and some who are not, would create a situation where the police could not adequately protect everyone. I thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman, and the committee.
Very good job.
And would appreciate your